Hi, welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard. Got a few stories I want to run by you today, but Pierre Poilievre gets blamed again, but he sure knows how to handle that media. We'll get back to that in a few moments.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.
Okay, a lot of confusion yesterday over this explosion at the border, at the Niagara Falls border, the Rainbow Bridge. Really confusing yesterday because apparently nobody still doesn't know exactly what happened. A car racing from the US side towards the Canadian border, going about, God knows, over 60 miles an hour, crashes, explodes. At least one person is dead. Now, Pierre Poilievre gets up in the House of Commons yesterday in question period and asks if, according to media reports, can the Prime Minister clarify this terrorist attack, which had been described as a terrorist attack by media reports, including CTV. So Poilievre was only repeating what he saw in the media when he asked that question. Now, he gets blamed by the same media that apparently falsely recorded this as a terrorist attack in a news conference today. Let's have a look at this because this is fascinating.
Hi, Paula Loregio with the Canadian Press. Et si vous pouviez répondre dans les deux langues officielles, je l'apprécierais beaucoup. Do you think it was responsible for you to call yesterday's explosion by the checkpoint at the Rainbow Bridge terrorism when no U.S. or Canadian officials said that was or authorities said that was the case, and when the New York governor also said there was no evidence to suggest terrorism activity?
Actually, you're wrong. You're a CP? Okay, so CP, by the way, CP, just for everyone's knowledge, did have to make 3 corrections for falsehoods that they put into a single article. I think that might be unprecedented. I'm actually thinking about checking with the Guinness Book of World Records to see if there's ever been a news agency that has had to issue 3 corrections for patent falsehoods that they admit they had been made in one single article, and now you've made yet another falsehood in your question. Where you are wrong is that CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist. So, yeah, that's what I said in my remarks. You're right. It was a media report.
But it's citing media reports and not...
Which is what I said. In the House, I said there are media reports.
And you think that's a responsible thing to go on, to make that kind of a statement at the time without speaking to...
What kind of statement?
Calling something terrorist...
I didn't. I said there were media reports.
That's the distinction we're making?
No, there's no distinction. What I said, and I was right, was that there were media reports of a terror-related event. By your admission, there were media reports of a terror-related event. And that media report, according to CTV, unless you're questioning their integrity now, came from security officials in the Trudeau government. So do you think the CTV was irresponsible in putting out that tweet?
Well, were they responsible? They were the ones jumping on the terrorist bandwagon. Poilievre was merely asking the question based on what he had seen on the news. Now, Justin Trudeau did respond to that question yesterday in the House of Commons. He was there for about 5 minutes in question period, excused himself after answering 2 questions, said, I gotta run, see what's going on here. But Poilievre, once again, was only responding to what the media was already saying. Was this a terrorist attack? Well, it doesn't look like it. It looks like some idiot was out of control. Was he? I don't know. Was he drinking? Was he high on drugs? Was he trying to smuggle something across the border? Was he crazy? I don't know, but it does not seem to be a terrorist attack. And certainly wasn't a terrorist attack from Canada coming into the United States. And I'm really fed up with what I saw and what usually are common sense conservative stations in the States that immediately assumed this was a terrorist threat from Canada, and it wasn't. It was going the other way. And Republican Party presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, who I usually like and agree with on a lot of issues, from Ukraine to stop spending money we don't have to get out of foreign wars. He's got this obsession now with building a border wall across 5,000 miles from the Canada-US border and somehow through the Great Lakes as well. This is a stupid idea. Drugs are not going southward from Canada into the United States. Small percentile of fentanyl is getting into the United States from Canada. The terrorists are not coming in from Canada. They're coming in from Mexico. Impossible to build a border wall across Canada and the United States. They haven't even got the border wall on the southern border built. And Ramaswamy's talking about a border wall keeping Canada out? This guy is just not thinking on this issue. And to jump on this yesterday and suggest that this was a security problem with Canada, once again, people read the damn news. Find out what's going on before you go on television and make stupid statements. Whether it's Justin Trudeau or a Republican nominee or a candidate or media personalities on either side of the border, get your facts straight. I'm not going to go on here and start talking about a terrorist attack if I don't know if it's a terrorist attack. Want some confirmation? You're not going to get that in 5 minutes after an event. So this is nonsense. Anyway, I had to vent about that today because I'm just sick of people jumping on this border wall bandwagon, this northern border wall. And we've got a number of people have already suggested that, and it's really a stupid idea because they can't get their act together with Mexico, but yet they're talking about a border wall with Canada, and this is absolute nonsense. I want to deal with another issue here, which I think is absolutely fascinating. This is a totally unhinged Liberal Senator Leah Taylor Roy, or Roy, I think it's Roy. She's talking about how outlandish, how outrageous that farmers would come to the Senate, and I was with them. They peacefully marched up Wellington Street from the Eternal Flame, from the Centennial Flame, to where the Senate is now sitting, the old train station across from the Chateau Laurier. They peacefully walked across the street, down the street, across the street, and were let in by security and sat very peacefully and quietly in the gallery. That's where the farmers' protest was. And this woman, crazy senator, has got this to say.
Arch descending on the Senate to tell them to do something? What happened to our government? What happened to procedure and law and order and respect for members of the Senate and of the House of Commons? This is like some kind of a tin pot dictatorship or something. Like you don't like what's happening, so we bring out the crowds. Sounds like the convoy again.
Okay.
Oh, give me a break. Sounds like the convoy again. Yeah, well, the convoy, thank God there was a freedom convoy because it changed some of the stupid regulations and rules that politicians like you put in place, like liberals like you put in place. And that was another peaceful protest. But what a hypocrite this woman is. What a complete hypocrite. Look what she's been up to. Uh-huh. She was the one. Yeah, she was the one organizing a protest against Doug Ford's Greenbelt. So it's okay for me to protest, but not okay for farmers to protest. My God, what's your beef? You got a problem with things? You got a problem with having to pay a carbon tax that's going to completely consume whatever profits you have, and it's going to make food so expensive you can't sell it, and Canadians can't buy it? You got a problem with that? Oh my God! Well, don't come to the Senate to protest. Not as long as Senator Leah Taylor Roy is sitting there complaining and thinking anything that she has to disagree with is a tin pot dictatorship. People like her are tin pot dictators. Anyone in the Liberal Party right now who doesn't want to face protests. But ironically, as the good senator was venting about how much she hates farmers and farmer protests, look what was happening in Ottawa.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
Yeah. So while almost at the same time she's griping about a farmer protest, there's a pro-Palestinian protest going on at a Liberal fundraising dinner in Ottawa. And it's really upsetting the poor Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And it's upsetting to the Liberal brass. They're all there and they don't like protests. But ironically, nothing was done about that, was it? That's okay. Oh, they'll put up with it. But farmers can't protest. That's an outrage. That's how the priorities of this Liberal government, how the priorities of the Trudeau government, how the mentality of this Trudeau government is so distorted, is so screwed up. They just don't get it, do they? And I don't think they ever will. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Please support this station, ring that bell, subscribe, and like it. Like this station. Let's beat the Trudeau censorship. I'll be back again tomorrow with more information about what's going on here in Ottawa. Thanks for watching today, and have a great rest of the week. And if you're celebrating American Thanksgiving, have a very happy Thanksgiving. God bless. Bye-bye.